up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back to another episode of The Assist. I am your host, Dylan, here with my guy, Theodore. Theodore, you good? You good because you good or you good? Oh, you know the episode we're about to have, so you really happy. Before we jump into this episode, I need to let y'all know The Assist is a part of the No Network, where we desire to bring you closer to all the sports happening within the Gulf Coast area. If you're an LSU Tiger fan, welcome home. If you're a part of the Green Wave, Roll Wave, whatever you want to call it, community, this is your one-stop shop. And y'all know why I'm laughing once we talk about our guest today. This is your one-stop shop for all things Green Wave. Every sport happening within the Gulf Coast, we support it, we cover it, and we create content on it. So if you were looking for your one-stop shop for all sports within this area, congratulations. You're now rocking with the best. Yes, you're now rocking with the best. Yes, welcome home. Today, I can't listen. There's going to be some Pelicans talk happening. I'm already messing up. Happening in this episode, but I cannot assure you that it's going to end with Pelicans talk with these two guests I've got coming up. These two guys create content about all different sports, ranging from wrestling to everything, to coffee, to because coffee is a sport. It's a literal sport in other countries. Maybe to some cultures in America. I digress. But these guys are a part of the Breauxs, WFK, just so many different things. Welcome to the stage and show some love for my brothers from other mothers. My main man Dave and my brother Patty. How we feeling, big dogs?
Eat.
See, that's they trying to get me off center already because they know I can't wait to talk about my man Big Oos. They know I can't wait to talk about it. Before we get there, Patty, how we feeling, brother?
Always good, man. Thank you for having us, man. I appreciate you.
Of course, Patty is calm right now, but I'll give it about 30 seconds and that's gonna change.
Yeah, we'll
Big
come.
dog Dave, how you feeling, brother?
Fantastic, man. Fantastic.
Man, it's so good to have y'all on the show. Let's get the conversation rolling. Let's start around the pales. Patty, when you look at the current landscape of the New Orleans Pelicans and how we're going into training camp, how are you feeling? What are you thinking about everything that you're seeing?
Man, the word doesn't come to me, to be honest with you. I think excited, maybe, obviously, but you go into a new season, everybody's gonna be excited, right? Intrigued, maybe is the word. I think you probably talk to other people. I know we're like the seventh in a row or whatever in this whole conquest you're doing here, but I'm not quite sure like what exactly our approach is, and I'm very intrigued to see what happens in the preseason and how they start to roll out things. Yeah, I'm gonna go with intrigued,
What
cautiously
ha-
optimistic.
what has you so I know you say you're not really sure the makeup, but what when you say excited, that's a very, very important word, Patty.
Hmm.
What has you most excited? Is it the Zion pictures you've been seeing? Is it the Dejounte Murray? What has you most excited?
Yeah. I think first and foremost, it's definitely the trade for Dejounte Murray, right? Like we've needed a point guard for a long time. We've needed somebody to come in and calm the ship, right the ship when situations get a little finicky or awkward. There's
Yeah,
been some chaos, and
yeah,
it feels like the team has just kind of just done what they do, and nobody really knows what the other hand is doing in big moments, unless Zion was there, which Zion has been in and out. That's a whole other conversation. But I'm excited about Dejounte. I'm excited about Zion. With his comments recently, like he has never take a step back. He's always been this like by golly ho hum type of guy to me, right? So for this offseason, when him to I'm paraphrasing here, basically tell the league, hey, y'all are on notice, like I'm coming to kill y'all, right? Like that type of thing, that gets me excited. So yeah, between that and Dejounte, I'm excited. But then I look at the roster makeup and I'm curious about who's playing big, right? I'm not gonna say the five or center or whatever, however you want to say it. Who's gonna rebound is kind of what I'm looking at. And I've heard them come out and talk about what their plans are so far, and I don't know that I necessarily agree. So yeah, excited about things, concerned about things. I got a little pause. I'm just curious to see what happens.
I dig it.
So yeah.
I dig it. Well, speaking on the center situation, Dave, you know Fletcher hopefully I said his last name right. He came out and said Daniel Theus is reported to start the season playing 15 to 20 minutes from the center spot. How do you feel about that, and how do you think it's going to shake out? You know, we've got Daniel Theus, we've got Makovich, and we've got Yves Massey, the young boy, and then we've got Zion, who's probably going to be the closing five. How do you feeling about the big situation that we've got going on?
You asked a few different questions there. So first off, how do I feel about Tice? Is it Theus? Tice? I don't even know how to say his name.
Would you say his
That
mama called him
that
Theus? I'm just kidding.
okay, that's fine. His mom can call whatever she wants.
Mhm.
That that feels right, I guess. I mean, he's the most established, I guess, of the center group, if you want to put it that way. I don't want to put of the bigs because Zion, if you're including Zion on that conversation, then Zion is the most established. But as the five, he feels right, I guess, to start. I wouldn't be surprised if pretty quickly Carlos starts to find his way into the rotation. He's such an interesting player, right? Um, I think like if ideally you'd want him to hit because that's a fun piece to add to an offense. But the other question you asked was how do I feel overall? Concerned. Like I don't know how you can feel anything other than that right now. You don't have a Jonas in there, right? That is at least a consistently good player. Not to say any of these guys can't prove themselves, but I'm not. It's the only real concern I think I have of the lineup at the moment.
I dig that. I dig that. Do you think with the current shakeup at the five spot, we could potentially be seeing a lot of Trey Murphy time at the five? Walk with me. Do we live in a world where we go complete five out, Zion at the point, Bi at the three, CJ at the two, then you put in Herb somewhere, and you just go five out, Zion attack the rim, kick. You got shooters all over the floor. How would you feel if you saw that be a closing lineup?
I mean, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with experimenting with whatever to at least begin the season. Like you're gonna have to if you don't
Yeah,
have a legitimate center, you're gonna have to play with lineups, and you have a ton of talent, especially while Bi's on the team. While Bi's on the team, you see what I did there?
that was elite. That was elite. That was elite.
Uh, like you have so much talent, you got to find a way to get them all on the court.
Mhm.
And if putting Trey at the five is a way to try it out, you give it a shot. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like, does he have the strength to hold up against a center? Probably not. Like a
Right,
legit
right,
center, probably not.
right.
But can they kill you in other ways because of that?
Right.
Like you got to try it. Like you really don't have a choice until you can find a way to make it work. Like you got to make it work. So give it a shot.
I think personally, if I could jump in, I love the idea personally. I think it comes down to rebounding, and that's
Yeah.
been your Achilles heel for the last 2 seasons here, right? Like you got to rebound. Now, whether you have a traditional big in or not, you have to find a way to rebound. If Trey Murphy's the guy that's going to go get you, even if he gives you 7 rebounds, 6 rebounds, that's phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
Like give me that.
Mhm.
If you can rebound as a team, find a way to box out, find a way to attack the glass, like give me that. I want the 5 out personally. I think that would be really exciting to watch. So yeah, like I love that you mentioned experimenting. Like I would love to see that experiment and see how it plays out, but you have to commit to the rebounding in that
Facts.
experiment. And I want to see
Mhm.
that.
Facts.
Mhm.
I don't care about
Does Brandon make it past the trade deadline in a Pelicans uniform? And if
it.
not, what is your dream outcome?
There's so many factors that play into that. It's so hard to say yes or no there, right? Like I want to say no.
Mhm.
Just gun to my head, no, right? But he could. Like it just depends how the season's playing out. Like, and they're like, are they a top 2 team at the trade deadline? Maybe he doesn't get moved, right? But if they're, I don't know, because if they're not a top 2 team, like, do you want them? I have no idea. There's so many scenarios. I can't really even think of how it plays out. What do I want? I just want the team to succeed. Like, right? I want them to rebound. I don't want to curse. I can't.
Say
I'm trying to be a good Christian here. Uh, I just want the team to succeed, right? If Brandon Ingram and Zion can coexist and they can find a way to put 5 on the floor and have other people coming off the bench that are not upset that they're not getting the minutes or whatever role they expect to get, I'm all in, right? But that probably doesn't happen. So maybe you move him. Maybe you get a big. Maybe I know there's been a lot of talk around your boy from the Knicks. I know he's injured right now. Like
Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, like I don't know. I really don't have a good answer for you. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, you could probably feel it in my voice how I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
I just want to jump in and say I kind of think it depends on Brandon. Like,
Yeah,
and not even I don't want to say not so much his play on the court, because that obviously weighs in. But where is he at mentally with this? Because there's the reports that he didn't go to some of the offseason workouts that he always goes to, and things like that. Like, is he buying in, or is he gonna be a problem? Like, I don't view him as a person that's gonna cause issues, but like, we don't know. And I think that's the concern with me. Is like right at this moment, I expect him to come in and just play ball. Like, I have no other reason up to this point to believe Brandon Ingram will do anything but be a good teammate and contribute.
Man,
but we don't know, man. We don't know.
Brandon Ingram reminds me a lot of Bret Hart. Like,
here we go.
Extremely talented.
Here's the transition.
Just extremely talented. No, it's the truth. Think about it. Extremely talented, a tactician, and great at what they do great. Like, they are great at what they do great, and when they're doing their thing, it's great. But there's always like this underlining tension of like, when they feel messed over, it's like they can just affect more than what you thought they could affect. Like, Brandon Ingram doesn't even post on social media. Then all of a sudden, he's making introspective posts about a current situation that is alluding to said situation without actually saying it. I mean, it's hard for me because you said he's gonna, Dave. You said he's gonna just come in and kind of just be like the guy who just, does his job. But when I see that post and I know, go
I
ahead.
didn't say he would. I said at this moment, that's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
You think
That's
so,
what I
Patty?
think.
You think he comes in and just like, let me do my job?
I think you have a good point with the comparison to Bret Hart, and that's a wild comparison. First of all, meshing these two things, he is definitely that guy that's like, I gave you 365 days a year. You know what I mean? Like all these things. I was a street worker, all this stuff, and I agree. Like there is that comparison there where maybe he feels like he's done everything he should have done, and now he's not getting the payoff that he deserves. And I think that for wrestling fans out there, hopefully you're following me. I think that comparison definitely holds weight. I'm curious how that plays out in the NBA world, right? Like he expects a certain contract. I don't think he's going to get it. And I'm curious if his frustration spills over into guys like Jose, into guys like even Zion, like what the CJ, like what happens this season if they aren't winning right away?
Is this a Montreal Screwjob situation where he's friends with Trey Murphy and then Trey Murphy outplays him and it's like, oh, we just had to make this move, man, and they send him to a place that can't pay him?
Are you jumping in?
I had another thought. I was letting you
go ahead. I want to hear you got there.
I was wondering, like, you started talking about like him meshing with other people. Do you think it's going to be an issue with him and DeJounte? Like, if he doesn't, DeJounte is an alpha, and he's gonna he's coming in expecting these dudes to work. And if BI comes in even for a second, starting to be a problem, like, and not being a good teammate and not putting in the work, go ahead.
I think it's disrespectful to assume BI would ever be that way. I don't.
No. I just said I think he's not. But if he does, I'm saying.
Is it disrespectful though? This is the same guy that decked Chris Paul in the middle of a game.
And I respect the hell out of it.
I also respect him for that.
I'm out. He was coming.
That made me a Brandon Ingram fan.
Yeah, I've been a BI fan from that day. Because if your teammate is in a scuffle and you don't come to his back,
I dig
it on you, and he did. So
I dig it.
Yeah. Also, R.I.P. Dipsy, because that's the other thing I remember from that video. Yeah. That's the two things I will always remember from that game.
That was, man, listen. Yes, RIP Nips. All my life, grinding all my life, play it once a week. Always in the gym, lifting 75 pounds, all my life. So listen, with that being your thought process on Brandon Ingram, we know that a lot of things weigh heavily on Brandon Ingram and Zion's relationship because yeah, you could bring in DeJounte Murray, but at the end of the day, your guys are your guys. And we know that Zion is your number one and Brandon Ingram is your number two. So with that being your thought process, how do you feel like how do you feel like they make it work when Brandon has shown you that he does not want to shoot threes? Like you're in a make or break season for a lot of people. I want to know from one of you guys, either one of you, what would be a way that you can either one convince Brandon to shoot more threes, or two, you come up with a different system that alleviates Brandon from the stress of shooting threes and still you maximize him and Zion together. Is it doable? I see you shake your head, Patty. No. What do you think?
We're adults, and that's what it is, right? If I'm Willie or whoever, you sit down and you're like, listen, bro, like we need this. Okay. And if you can't do that, let's have that conversation. But I need that out of you. Right. And that's that. Like as a competitor, you got to have tough conversations and you got to let each other know what your expectations are. And I love BI. I really do. I love BI. I love BI's game. But his current game, if he's not shooting threes, I'm not asking him to hit at a 40% clip. I'm just saying I'm asking you to shoot threes, right? Shoot 8 a game, something like that. Just be a threat of some sort. You need to have that conversation and you need to come to that understanding of that's what you need. And if you're not hitting those expectations at that point, it's a business, bro. I love you. Go exceed elsewhere. Go be the guy that you want to be and just dish to everybody else if you need to. But like, it's not going to work here. And that's okay.
Yeah.
But you got to have that conversation. If you can't have that conversation as an adult, maybe you don't need to be in that position.
I mean, it's to his benefit, right? Whether he's here or somewhere else, it's to his benefit to start shooting more threes. Like, where is he gonna go in today's NBA that's cool with him being a mid-range assassin exclusively? Like, there's a place in the game for what he does,
Sure.
but he also has to do this other stuff.
Yes.
Like, he also has to shoot threes. No matter where he's at, there may be 2 or 3 teams in the entire NBA that are cool with the way he plays right now. And don't get me wrong, like there are times where he can just take over from there and win you a game like that. But it's going to be less than ideal for him to just continue that way. He needs to evolve into this next thing. Like I know, and he's a veteran. Like he's been in the league forever, but he's still young. He can still do that, right? Like he can still change his game. And Patty's right. Like he's got to do it. And if he's not willing to do it here, he can go try to do it somewhere else.
I agree with that. And I feel like, as you said before, there are teams in the league that may be willing to let him play that way. But the issue with letting him play that way is he's showing you that at peak, he's a star.
Sure.
And stars don't win you championships. They get you a few wins in the season. But when you get to that moment where you need a superstar to arrive and show that he is that guy, stars just, they can get there for a moment. But the sustained star level.
Sorry, I was not cutting.
Would you like to call him, Patty?
Listen.
I was waiting for it. That was a setup. Did you get y'all caught the setup? I kept talking because I'm like they didn't. Okay, let me just keep going.
My guy is a part-time superstar. He is a star. Brandon Ingram is a star, right? The problem is he's not a superstar. Maybe he's a part-time superstar. You saw it in like one playoff series, and everybody hangs on to it. And listen, I love Brandon Ingram, right? But he does not exude or exhibit the qualities that you want out of a superstar. When you see Zion Williamson take over a game and pull you back into the game, the Lakers, for example, right? You look at it and you're like, that's a superstar. Like you can't quantify it. You just look at it and you know it. And Brandon Ingram does not do that at a high level. He does it here and there.
Mic drop.
Before this year, playoff BI was a superstar. Ooh. Like when they got into the play, or whatever that was 2 years ago, that guy we saw in the playoffs, if we would have got that an entire season, that's a superstar.
See, When I
But
hear that now, Dave, you just put me in a corner when you said that. Because before I was like, yeah, yeah. But then when you say that, it's like Jimmy Butler has made an entire career off of playoffs. And he's
but he
gotten max after max off of playoffs.
but he
drug his
does it
team to the
every
finals,
single time
and he
he's
does
in
it
the
every
playoffs.
year.
Yeah.
Brandon Ingram did it one playoff series.
One,
Well, how
yeah,
many
it
has
was
Brendan been? Brandon's only been in one, right? Am I missing?
Get your team to another.
well. Didn't I mean
Like,
we had a play-in game, right? Like that.
yeah,
I don't know if
but
and
we count
Bi
that as a
did.
playoffs. And
Bi
yeah,
he,
that's
did.
true. But I
you
think
know,
that play and he had like 30, and if I'm
yeah,
not mistaken, I can, outside of this one he had against the Lakers, I've historically known Brandon when it's go time, he usually arises to the occasion.
Sure.
Mind you, we have not gotten to that place a lot, so he's not been able to show that off a lot. So I think that, Patty, you just said, then get your team there. That's the reality of the situation. And I'm going to look in the camera when I say this. The reality of the situation is this. You got to get your team there, B. Like, you have to figure out a way to get your team there. You want these big money deals. You want to be the guy. You got to figure out a way to get your team to on the dance floor.
Mhm.
And it just so happens that you struggle to do it when it's just you. And that's why some individuals call you part-time star.
More-time superstar.
I wouldn't
Listen,
even
I
say
could talk
part-time
myself.
superstar, part-time
Part-time
star
star.
at this
Oh,
point.
he's a
After that
fucking
OKC series,
star.
listen, let me move on because people on Twitter is going to destroy me for saying that. Moving forward, we saw that our favorite pal, Jose Alvarado, just got pizzed. He got an extension for 3 years. I think an extra $9 million on this deal or something, or 2 years of the extra $9 million on each, $4.5 million per year. How we feeling about that young Rey Mysterio in the Pelicans uniform? How we feeling about him getting that upping, that re-up, Patty? What you think?
Like I said, young Rey Mysterio. I love it, man. He's the heart and soul. He's the backbone of this team, right? Like he's a bench player, and it's kind of sad because he's a bench player, but he also carries a lot of weight, right?
Yeah.
Like,
mhm.
but the talent on the floor, like a guy that can give you 35 on any given night, it's just wild, right? Like at one point last year, I think I was saying, and maybe even the year before, I was like, he's our best point guard by far. And you could lock him up as an undrafted free agent for a minimum, not a minimum, but a lower end contract with that amount of talent. He's scrappy. Give it to me. I love it. Congrats to him. Shout outs to him for really competing and earning that job. But shit, you can't pay him enough. Give him more.
Yep. And there's something to the intangibles, right? Like you need those guys, and when you lose Najee, like you got to have one of them on the team. And Jose brings so much to the table as I'm gonna say sixth man. I know he's maybe not a 6-man role per se, but more or less he brings so much. Like Patty said, he can give you 35 randomly. He can come in and completely change a game with 2 plays. Like there's no, you can't really put a dollar amount on that. Like I guess I know they just did, but like you really can't.
Do you feel so with DeJounte coming in? You're probably gonna have Zion play your backup point.
Mhm.
Then CJ will be your third string point. Where do those Jose minutes come from with DeJounte stepping on the scene? That's for either one of y'all.
I'm not worried about it. I'll be dead honest. I'm not really worried about it. I don't think CJ gets the point minutes like you're talking about. I think he's
Please,
going to have
Jesus,
some
be right.
ability to
Please,
create.
Jesus, let this man be right. I'm
I-
sorry. I've been praying for that over the whole summer, brother. I'm just that's a prayer
Like
of mine.
CJ's gonna get the ball. He's a guard, right? Like he's gonna get the ball and he's gonna have opportunities to
Right,
create.
rightfully
But
so.
that's gonna happen in any offense. I'm hoping that CJ just plays off guard a lot, right?
Please.
And I think that Zion's gonna get his time no matter what, and Jose's gonna be the guy off the bench. And that is what it is. I'm hoping that in Jose's minutes, he's the guy that's running the offense. I think that's what you see.
Yeah.
We'll see how they structure that, but I'm not too concerned.
Yeah. Well, you also lose Dyson, so like that's another point guard you don't have to give minutes to.
Forgot about that.
So you just up Jose a little bit. I wonder where the Hawkins minutes kind of fit in.
I'll tell you where they fit in, brother. I'll tell you where they fit in. I'll tell you where they fit in. They fit in everywhere. Any lineup you want to put on the floor, you can put Hawk on the floor, and he gonna make that lineup better.
We're talking to Big E right now.
I tell you,
Big meaty men slapping me. That's what I feel like I'm hearing.
big slapping me.
This
That was
man.
just to get Dylan going.
Listen, I tell you what,
You
it
said
goes.
Jose, or not Jose. You said Jordan Hawkins. I was
He was out of there because he knew what time it was. He knew what
Clear the
time
floor.
it was.
Clear the lane.
Listen,
Ball up
Hawkins.
top.
I'm supposed to be hosting the show, but they messed up and they brought the Breauxs in, so it's hard for me to host when I got Breauxs around.
yeah.
I'm just talking at this point. This is a different type of episode for y'all. Hawkins minutes. Put that man next to Zion. Put that man on the floor with DeJounte Murray. You want to know why? Because giving him a Rajon Rondo type of point guard that's gonna say, hey man, hit that shot, man. He's gonna say a few colorful words in between there. He's, man, listen, I'm playing defense. I'm stopping this dude. I'm doing this. I'm getting you the ball. I need you to make this shot. And you know who else coaches him like that? His dad. Jordan Hawkins' dad perpetually talks to him. He didn't have that this past year. And I'm not saying he needed that to be successful. There was a second there where he was top 3 in the rookie of the year. And the two people he was behind was an alien and a repeat freshman. You ever played against a repeat freshman in high school? It was a diabolical situation because they've already been through the ringer of high school and they failed and now they showing up again talking about, so I'm back. No, you ain't back. Go home. Go home. He was behind a repeat freshman and an alien. And he's 6'4", 6'5" if they put him in stilettos. What are we doing? What are we doing here? Like, I don't know. I'm sorry. That's a good segue right there to my next question. Who
Stilettos.
is the one guy on the team that you have big expectations for?
Carlo.
Ooh, talk to
Carlo.
me.
That's the guy. And I know that sounds wild, right? Like everybody's asking, who is our big man? Who is our 5? I 100% think it's Carlo. And I think that he's the guy that's going to come out of nowhere. And I'm hoping he's the guy that comes out of nowhere and really grabs attention of the fans and really produces. He's shown he understands basketball. He can shoot the basketball. He can space well. He can rebound. He can box out. Like he knows how to play his position. And I think if you put him around other talented guys, that translates. Like it doesn't stop. And I'm hoping that he doesn't, obviously the moment's not too big or whatever it is, or he doesn't get bodied by NBA players or whatever it is. But I'm expecting big things from him. He can shoot the basketball. He can pass the basketball. He's athletic. He can attack the rim. Like he can finish. I want Carlo.
I like the Carlo thing. I was talking to someone, I can't remember what it is. You said, like you said, we've had like 7 guests. One of the things Carlo does that most guys don't know how to do is he knows how to run the floor
Yeah.
and run angles. You know, we glorify the rim running big, the big that knows how to run from rim to rim. With Zion, you really don't need a rim running big because a rim running big is going to go right to where Zion wants to go. You need a big that knows how to angle out to the dunker spot, perceive where Zion is going next, and then navigate off of that. If Zion is attacking the rim, stay in the dunker spot. Once your guy helps, go for the alley. If Zion's backing out, going to the midi, curve into the curve into the rim, get the alley at the rim. If Zion is fully
Right.
attacking, get space in the corner, shoot the easiest 3 in the game.
Yeah.
Carlo knows how to do that well, so I'm with you right there. I think you're onto something, man. What you think, Dave?
This feels like a chalky answer, but I'm going with DeJounte. Like you were brought in to be the difference maker of this team and to be the guy. Like show me you can be the guy we saw in San Antonio and not just the guy we saw in Atlanta. Like it's a chalky answer, but like I want to see it, man. And I'm excited to see him and Herb next to like together. But I mean I could say like Trey, like of course I want to see another leap from Trey, but like I'm excited about DeJounte and I want to see how that goes.
You both failed me. Listen, it's Jordan Hawkins, bro. Listen, this is the only correct answer here, people. This is not. This is the. My friends failed me right here, but don't worry, I'll help y'all. The correct answer is Jordan Hawkins. Why? Because the Pelicans need it. I mean, C.J. McCollum is getting older. You need to know that this young guy that you spent another lottery pick on is going to give you something. Because it's going to look horrible if you trade 2 lottery picks within 2 years. You traded Dyson this year, and then turn back around and trade Jordan. That's going to look horrible for the front office. So, Jordan, for you, for the front office, for the team, I'm believing that you're the guy. Hashtag make Hawks fly again. This is Dylan McNeely, and I approve this message. We're gonna culminate this
I
show
gotta go to bed.
circling exactly. You were supposed to be asleep. We're gonna culminate this show circling back around to the primary topic of the show. So what I'm gonna do, Patty and Dave, is I'm going to give you guys solo screen. Patty, you first, and I need you to
boy.
tell me your hot take for the
Pressure.
Pels this upcoming season, and
Oh,
I need
shit.
you to tell me how does the season end for the Pels. I'm gonna give you a few seconds to gather your thoughts. Hot take. And then how does the season end? Is it 50 wins in the second round out or first round exit? Are we in the play-in again? 3, 2,
You can put me on the spot.
psych, wrong person. Go for it.
Stop prepared.
Got him.
I guess I'm going. My hot take on the Pelicans this season. I don't know if it's a massive hot take, right? I'm going. They get 52 wins. You get over the 50 win mark. I think Murray is a massive addition, right? I think he's a stabilizing presence. I think Brandon Ingram gets traded by the trade deadline. I think Zion steps up as your leader. And I think Murray is definitely like that Rajon Rondo presence. He's a stabilizing presence. And I think Carlo steadies the ship. I think he steps up and he's the fifth man. He's the guy you want. He's going to give big monies this year. And I think you have a second round exit. And that's what I'm going with. If you want me to elaborate, I can't because I was put on the spot and I just shouted all this stuff out. But that's what I'm going with. And if you want to talk trash to me after because I was wrong, bet. Let's do it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Dave, you ready? 3.
I guess. I mean, you asked Patty for a hot take, and he gives you 7 of them.
100%.
So I'm just going to
I was
basically
like,
repeat
I
what he
don't know
said.
what Dave is going to say. The Pelicans are changing their uniform color. Something off the wall. Here we go, Dave.
Yeah. I agree with Patty. The second round exit feels right. I'll give you a couple hot takes. I'll try to be somewhat different, but number one, Trey Murphy forces Brandon Ingram off of the team. He takes the step, makes Brandon Ingram dispensable, and that's it. Second, I'm gonna shoot for the moon with this one, and Zion is legitimately in the MVP conversation. Finally, is that a hot take? I don't know. But that's what I'm going with, and that's my 2. I'm not giving you 7 like Patty just did. I'm sorry. Okay.
How does the season end?
Oh, it said second round exit.
Second round exit. All right. Well, my brothers, thank y'all
Patty
so
had
much
one
for
more.
spending this hour and a half. What y'all don't know is Patty's got to wake up. I mean, David's got to wake up in about 3 hours and go and actually do things that matter, like work and provide for his family. Love y'all, man. Thank y'all so much for dropping in. Hey, y'all can go and check out all of their stuff on Breauxs.com. It's coming. Not here yet, but coming down the pipeline. There's going to be merch on the line. There's going to be wave situations going on. You know, Patty, I'm really jealous, brother. You just on sidelines these days, just
My chopped liver.
like
Like-
just like every time I look up, yeah, I'm over here in the Tulane Wave sideline, and it's not looking good, boys. I'm like, how did you get there? Like, what
Well, first of all, it's always looking good. I don't want to take over the end of this podcast, but it's always looking good.
Okay. And we're going to close this show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to The Assist. So much love to y'all. This has been a fun episode. Don't forget to hit that like button and that subscription button. Hey, Theo, we had a good time, didn't we?
Who the hell is Theo? Wait a minute.
I love you, brother. That is my turtle, if y'all didn't know. You hear my guys laughing in the background. Peace, love, and God bless.